Hello, everyone. I'm Kelsey, the face behind Classroom to Curtain, and I am so excited that you are here today. And thank you so much for purchasing the attendance tracker. I know firsthand how much this has helped me in my classroom. Even though we have an online attendance system that we use, we're often asked to provide backup, detail, that sort of thing out of the blue. And this has just made my job so much easier. So I hope that it does the same for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at different ways to use it. So if you open up the link in the document that you downloaded, it'll say access it and it's going to ask you to make a copy. It does have some special things attached to it, the app script file and things like that. So please go ahead and make a copy of the whole thing. So it's going to take a minute to do that because it's going to copy it over and make sure everything's moving and grooving. Now, this covers quarters. So we have 4 quarters in the year. We have 8 class periods that it's preset up to use for you. And you can see that all of those tabs are already available on the bottom here. But the first thing that I want you to do is to scroll all the way over in the document to the right and find the rosters. Now, these are organized period 1, period 2, period 3, period 4. You can rename them if you want. You can just double click in here. For instance, my school has 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, and then 1B, 2B because we have A days and B days that happen. So I can make any of those edits in here. So for instance, I'm going to set this up as if it is my class. And obviously in my school, we call it drama, not theater, although more theater, less drama, please. But let's say that this is my drama 1 roster. And I'm going to go ahead in and I can either copy and paste or I can type in my student names. I'm going to use some fake students here. Whoops, he is not a frog. He is the frog. Kermit the Frog, he's in 9th grade. Miss Piggy, let's say she's in 10th grade. And Gonzo the Great, he is going to be in 9th grade as well. And Animal, of course, gotta have Animal. He is in 12th grade. So I can go ahead and update those. And you'll notice this is my period 1A roster. So I would have to kind of update my notations in the different quarters here. But if I go to that period 1 tracker, you will see that we have the formulas have set so that we're auto updating the names and the grades of the students that fall there. So again, I can update this and say 1A, drama 1. So any changes that I need to make this my own, period 1A. Okay. So start it there. There's the basics. You can do that for all of the rosters and it'll automatically copy over. So as soon as I go to quarter 2, period 1, you'll see we have the exact same updates tracking. Great. The other thing that I tend to do is these are set up for 45 days per quarter. Now, again, I have an A day, B day schedule, which means I only see those students for half of those days. And I actually like to track it by the date because it just makes it a little bit easier for me to track. But I wanted to make sure you had something in here to start with. So you can go in and you can say August 29th. We'll start out my favorite person's birthday, why not? September 1st, let's say there's a weekend in there or what have you. And you can go ahead and make these whatever dates you want. Now, again, if I have, and I may need to make this a little bigger, etc. I have that A day, B day schedule, which means I don't need all of these columns. I can go ahead and shift and delete columns that I don't need, and it will still keep the formulas to auto count the tardies and absences, no problem. It only becomes a trick if you are adding columns. And if you're doing that, please send me an email, classroomtocurtain@gmail.com, and I can help you out with those formulas. So we've got our students in, we've got our dates set up. Let's start tracking some attendance. Nice and easy way to do it. We have the drop down menu. For me at my high school and secondary level, all I really need to keep track of is present, absent, tardy, and excused. Now, when they are tardy, I do want to know what time they arrived because for me, it does affect their ensemble work grade. So I'm going to show you how to keep track of that in just a second. But I can simply click the drop down menu, select what's going on with the student that day, and go from there. Now, as I say, let's say that I wanted to add something for me, for my notes about why a student was excused or tardy, especially if I'm going to have to defend a grade. My students get practical grades for being in class. So if I need to be able to defend a grade to my administrator or to a parent or anything like that, this is where these notes come in really, really handy for me. So let's say that my class period goes until 10:30. An animal showed up at in true animal style. Animal came crashing through my door at 10:20, which really didn't give him enough time to earn any ensemble work. Here is where I'm going to use the awesome notes feature. And I'm going to click insert note, 10:20 a.m. I can put a space between it, whatever it is that I usually do, however I want to keep that note. Okay. So that lets me know that. But let's say for some reason he was tardy, but it was excused from teacher. You can even put science teacher, right? CE teacher. You can keep whatever notes that it is that you want to have in there. All right. And if we need to delete those notes for any reason, you can go in, click in there, and delete the notes. Give it a second to reset and you'll see that that note is gone. You know that the note is there because there's a little tick in the window. The same thing happens for excused absences. I always insert a note. We receive a special slip from the attendance office. So I'll say attendance slip received. Let's say they gave it to me September 4th. Right? So I may have gone back in and updated that. Sometimes it has a code, sometimes it doesn't. But again, you can put in whatever it is that you need. Now, Kermit's really struggling. We've gone through. Kermit is absent 3 times. In my school district, that absent 3 times turns into a little red flag that we need to make sure that we contact a parent. So I've gone ahead and used that model. And if you scroll on over, you can see that these are set to auto count the number of tardies and the number of absences that students have. This is also data that I'm asked for the most frequently when it comes to IEP 504 or multilingual learner meetings and feedback and paperwork that I have to give, which is why I wanted to make sure I was tracking these specifically. So for me, I have it set to turn red when it gets to a 3 absent count. That is something you can update. I can show you how to update that in just a second in the conditional formatting. But I have it set to 3 because that is when I need the little, hey, time to notify a parent or whoever their trusted adult at home is. The tardies are not currently set to do anything except for count them. So once a student, you're seeing students running late a whole lot, we got to do something about it. And you will also see that part of the attendance tracker is that I have set up filters on every single day. So let's say that you have a exam that's happening or a presentation that's happening. My students are performing a scene, and I really need to track which students were not there the day that we presented the scene so that I can make sure that I am catching their scene work today. So I'm going to mark a couple of other students absent here, and I can use this filter column, and I can say, I just want to see the students that are absent. Boom. It's going to show me for that column just the students that were absent. I can also then remove that filter. I can set it back to be everything. I can also filter by grade level. So if I only want to see my 9th graders, I can see that. Or for me, it's really helpful in Q4. Our 12th graders finish earlier and I have all mixed level classes. So it's really easy for me to filter out those 12th graders to say, I don't want to see the 12th graders anymore because they are automatically excused. And then I'm not having to deal with their information as part of it. So you can use those filters to help you any way that you want. You can also filter by color, all kinds of other options. But here are a couple of things that you can also use to make these sheets exactly what you want them to be. So you can update the fonts. If you want this to look a little bit more like the Playbill style in terms of font, you can absolutely make that happen. You may have to adjust with the formatting just a little bit, but usually okay to slide things side to side. And you can see that I have some frozen panes here as we go across. Or let's say that you wanted these to be a little bit closer to your school colors. You can absolutely choose one of these school colors in here. My school colors are navy and burgundy, so I'm going to go in here and update that. And you can continue to mess with this to make it aesthetically pleasing to you and what you want it to look like. But I'm going to go ahead and stop there for now. The other updates that you can do and that I kind of recommend doing are these drop-down menus, depending on how you want to track attendance. Now, here's the really important thing in terms of the way that I have set up this sheet. You must keep absent and tardy as absent and tardy in order for them to auto count on the side columns of your sheet. Anything else, go ahead and update it. But those auto counts will only work with absent and tardy. However, you can make them any color that you want. If you want bolder colors than what I have, you're welcome to do that. And you can also update the actual items themselves. So let's say that instead of excused, you want field trip. You want to get a bit more particular about exactly what's going on. Field trip, athletics, release. We have special athletics release. Boop, boop, boop. We have a rehearsal release as well as part of our school. And so I can kind of choose to color code this, not color code this, whatever it is that I want to do there. When I click done, what I recommend that you do is apply it to all of the instances, because what that will do is make sure that it's showing up on any of the pages anywhere that you go ahead and track this data. And then I can go ahead and start choosing these other options and codes for how I do it. Again, I use the notes feature, but some people prefer to have a more robust drop-down option, and that's available to you. The other things that you can do, as I say, is you can update the conditional formatting here in terms of when it turns a certain color. Now, if you're going to do that, I would highlight the whole thing and you're going to go into conditional formatting and you'll see that there is this value is greater than or equal to 3. Because again, for my district, that's when it's important for me as a teacher to know what's going on. But let's say that your district is 5. You can change that to greater than or equal to 5. Great, it will turn red. Let's say that you wanted to update the color. You could go in here and say, actually, I want that to be bright green. Woo! And if we go in here, let's see if we can make somebody absent a couple of other times. Boop, boop, boom. Absent and absent. You'll see that that has updated what that looks like. It is now bright green. So you have options for how you do that. Now, if you do that in one of these columns, you are going to have to go in, unfortunately, and change that formatting in the other columns. So I hope that that 3 marker is pretty suitable for most people and what they're looking to do. The last thing that I want to cover with you is that this is a lot of information and it is a lot of tabs to scroll through and scroll through and scroll through. And let's be honest, at the beginning of the year, I don't need to see quarters 3 and 4. I don't even really need to see quarter 2. And at the end of the year, I definitely don't need to see quarters 1, 2, and 3. I am just ready to count down those days. So what I can do is hide and unhide the tabs as I need them or don't need them. And they are still available to you. The data that you have there is still there as long as you are not deleting the tab. So what I'm going to do is, let's say that I'm currently in my 4th quarter in my school. Whew, almost there. And I'm going to come in here. I'm going to right click, or on a Mac, double click, that sort of thing. And we can go hide sheet. And I can just do that for as many of these as I want. Hide sheet. Hide sheet. You may be able to highlight multiple of them and do them all at once, but unfortunately, that doesn't work for me on my computer, but to each their own. So you're going to hide as many as you want. But let's say that I am at the end of the year and somebody's asking me a question about attendance at the beginning. That is something that happened to me recently with maternity leave. It did come up and I did have to address it once I returned from maternity leave. So sometimes you are going to need to access those records. Again, I told you those sheets don't go away. They still exist. All you have to do is click on this all sheets button, these 3 little lines here at the bottom, and you can choose whichever sheet it is that you want to reactivate. Boom. right there, and it's going to pop right back up in the spreadsheet where it was, and you can see that all of that data has saved. So again, this is an excellent tool for saving things year to year to year. It is an excellent backup tool to have, or a more detailed attendance tracker from maybe what your school district has in their automatic online system. I know our online system is getting simpler, but they're asking us for more backup data. So this is my balance to that. I hope that it solves some things for you. I also know some teachers that pull this up and have students go into the drop down and select themselves for the day. So there are a variety of ways that you can use this. Please feel free to share, reach out, comment, send me an email if you have any questions. And I hope that it works for you as well as it works for me. Thank you and have a great day.